It's time for good energy, and I'm Dr. Julie, and welcome to Bodyful Day 198, Shortness of breath and the senses. And today we are talking about the sense of hearing. So this is day 3 of Shortness of breath and the senses, and we are talking about how the sense of hearing, the active hearing, the perception of hearing can affect our ability to take a big conscious breath. So let's start with our big conscious breath. Take a deep breath in and release. On this next deep breath in, you're going to expand in the belly, expand in the chest, expand in the sinuses, and tuck your tailbone under. Take a deep breath in and release. And because we are talking about shortness of breath, I want you to take that deep breath in to wherever it doesn't feel like you're breathing the best. It could be in your diaphragm, it could be in parts of your lungs, it could be into a shoulder, anywhere around here where you should expand when you breathe. If you don't feel like you are, go ahead and take a breath into that spot. Deep breath in and release. So in shortness of breath, we've been talking about how our senses can be both good energy and stressors for having shortness of breath. So our senses can either cause or trigger our shortness of breath, or they can help pull us back out when we have shortness of breath. So far we've covered sight and the stressor of seeing the air. We've talked about some other psychological, biological, and neurological features in terms of shortness of breath. We've talked about taste, how certain flavors or spices can actually open up the lungs and help you breathe better, but also the fact that taste is your idea of something that tastes good is different from mine, but also our tastes can vary from day to day. And what tastes good is what can make you breathe the best, and what currently doesn't taste good to you or doesn't feel good to the system is going to make your breath shorter and smaller. All right, so today we're talking about the sense of hearing. Remember, we're working off of the healing equation. Energy to heal equals good energy and minus stressors. And when we talk about hearing, we can talk about the sensory wavelength of it just going through our head, and we can also talk about the top-down component, that perception of words and ideas and thoughts. And when we think about stressors, we can think about both top-down and bottom-up stressors. When we covered pain and the senses, I think it was pain and the senses, we talked about the fact that perception of pain really is only, or the sensation of pain is really only done by the tactile, by your sense of touch. There's only one sensory system that automatically goes back and redoes, without going up to your brain and doing any perception, does reanalysis and says, hey, this hurts, this is not good for you. That wasn't entirely true. There is one other sense, possibly two other senses that do that automatically, and one of them really isn't a sense, it just helps with the sense. The first one I was thinking about was the sense of sight. So if you like something, your eyes will widen so that you can take more of it in, but also if you are afraid, your eyes will automatically widen. But that again is also a top-down interpretation. Now, the other one I'm talking about is your little muscles in the little attached to the little bones in your ears. And just for my mom's sake, no, I have not remembered. It's the anvil, the stirrup, and the, nope, can't remember what's beyond the anvil, the stapes, and the, nope, not gonna work. I still can't remember the three. I really should just look it up and make sure anytime I do a hearing post, I post those three little bones. Now, the interesting thing about the sense of hearing and the fact that the system will make a bottom-up interpretation of what is painful is that these little muscles that attach will cause the entire, if the sound is so loud, if you are at a loud rock concert, those little muscles will constrict and actually cause those three bones to move away from the eardrum and move away from the cochlea, which is the sensory organ, so that so that less information gets through, because it's just so intense. And when we link that to shortness of breath, you can understand that when there is, even without the top-down interpretation, when there is a very loud noise, your first response is fight or flight. Your first response is, I need to run away. That is too intense. I have got to shut down. And your system automatically does that with your hearing. It just pulls those bones away from the two places where it could make a connection into your head. Basically, it short circuits the connection, makes the connection harder to link up. And in doing so, it tones down the effect. So you have a natural good energy and source in those little muscles that are really just attached right to the nervous system. There's no thinking. The brain goes too loud, suck in, because your immediate response to too loud is panic. And panic is where we get to shortness of breath. Now, we could also talk about the top-down component of hearing, and we could talk about it from a very visceral sense. So crying babies, car engines that don't start, the sound of, lately, because of where we are, the sound of a tree growing through your roof, gunshot, all of those are things that have particular sound quality to them that, because of what they are, because they are interpreted as stressful, as most of these are, that top-down interpretation of that sound profile can cause fight or flight, and then causes the shortness of breath that goes with that. Now, on the other side, we can of course look at the good energy in components from your sense of hearing. And these are the components that are designed to help your nervous system calm down so that you can take bigger breaths, so that your diaphragm isn't so tight, so that the muscles around your chest aren't so tight. And we've talked a lot about these. So we've talked about tones, particularly low tones of a cello, low drone tones in cellos. G sharp, G, C, E, F are all really, those really low notes are all really good at calming the nervous system. And that is another way to lead you into thinking about ways to lower your shortness of breath. Now, the other cool thing about auditory stimulation is that you can use it as a marker for breathing. A lot of meditation apps will have a counter where they count 4 breaths in and then they count 7 out. Yeah, so 4 in, 7 out. So you can use sound to anchor your breath. Now, that could be the sound of a meditation app, but the cool thing is that it could be the sound of your partner or spouse breathing, or the really cool one that we look at is that infants will synchronize their breathing with whoever they're on top of, whoever they're laying next to, and they will breathe with the person that's with them. Their heart will beat with the person that's with them because their body synchronizes to that sound. So finding someone else who is breathing more deeply and can breathe with you, the sound of them breathing will actually slow down your shortness of breath and ease you into a better breathing space. So that is the calming energetic component when we talk about top-down information in terms of linking with somebody else. But tones themselves are really just bottom-up because there's no interpretation. You don't know why a low drone G sharp played on a cello calms your nervous system. You have no clue about that, but that is there. That evidence is there. You could start playing these things and see, can I get a better breath in? And the answer is, it's going to be yes. One of those will trigger you to relax a little bit more, which will trigger the better breath in. All right, so we've got hearing causing stress, hearing causing stress, hearing causing good energy in, and both of those things then secondarily triggering either shortness of breath or the relaxing into fuller, deeper breaths. All right, I hope you are enjoying this series on shortness of breath and the senses. We've got 4 more to go, so I will see you here tomorrow. Let's finish it off. Take a deep breath in and release. Have a good day.